All right, everyone. Sani Bonani, Ninjani, Namslanje. How are you guys all doing? And welcome back to Anton's class. If you're new here, my name's Anton, and I'm all about helping you discover more freedom through travel and life abroad. But we're gonna change that today. I help you discover more freedom through travel and life at home, all right, wherever your home is, because a lot has transpired, as I'm sure you can imagine. And I just want to jump right into this video, you guys. I don't want to keep you too long. And in honor of Africa and talking about why I left Africa, I'm wearing this Costa bracelet. So anyways, you guys, let's just go ahead and get right into this video. This is probably going to be a series of videos. I'll make a separate subsequent video about why I went to Africa in the first place. And then that'll be like a prequel. But today's video is going to be about why I left Africa, because a lot of you have emailed me or been in the comments and said, like, Anton, we miss you. Why did you leave Africa? Where are you? All that good stuff. So I'm back in the United States and I'm at home here in Arizona. And yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and get right into the video. So, why did I leave Africa? So, for those of you who have been on this journey with me, you know that I started my African journey back in 2021, and I traveled to Rwanda. And then after Rwanda, Kigali, Rwanda, I went down to Namibia, to Windhoek. And then I came back to the US and I worked, and then I went and spent the summer in our summer, your winter, down in Southern Africa, in Johannesburg in 2022. So I was supposed to go back to South Africa at the very end of 2023 and be there until like January, February, or March, whenever, of this year, 2024. But plans had to change. So we're going to go ahead and get into why I left Africa. A lot of you guys who are part of this community, this like diaspora travel to Africa community, know that a lot of people have been leaving Africa recently. A lot of African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Europeans, whatever, who went on a journey to Africa have recently made their departure from the continent and have gone back to the US. Some are still there and some will be there for the remainder of their lives. But a lot of people have been coming out and sharing their experiences of why they left Africa. All right. And one theme that I see repeatedly is the fact that they realize pretty quickly that as African Americans, we are actually not African. We are our own separate entity, our own separate ethnicity, our own separate culture. And that makes sense, right? A lot of you are thinking, obviously. But for me and others like me, it took us actually venturing outside of our comfort zone and landing and living in Africa to really come to that conclusion, all right? And I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. Going to Africa taught me to truly appreciate what it means to be a Black American and African American, and to truly appreciate our culture, our unique heritage and experiences on this planet. So for me, like I said, I went in 2021, and I'm going to make a whole separate video about that. But suffice it to say, romance played a role in why I went to Africa. All right. I was almost like a passport bro, if you would. Not entirely, because the person that I was dating, let's call this person X, the Nigerian person I was dating, person X, we met prior to me even considering really going to Africa. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Africa, but I met person X prior to that. Anyways, this video is not about why I went to Africa. It's about why I really ended up leaving. So, person X and I didn't work out. We had moved from Rwanda down to Namibia, and then I met a Namibian. We'll call this person O. Okay? Because they were of the Oshiwambo people. So we'll call this person O. So O and I got together in Namibia, and I was working on staying in Namibia long term. I kept going and renewing my visa at Home Affairs, and I was spending this time in Namibia not really on vacation. I was trying to brainstorm ideas for business to start in Namibia. Now, I will say it's easier to start a business in Rwanda as opposed to Namibia, but there are various reasons and factors that played into why I left Rwanda with Person X and flew down and relocated to Namibia. But so of course I met Person O in Namibia, and we hit it off, and we started a relationship, a long-term relationship, and we're discussing engagement, marriage, all that stuff, and discussing where we would spend our lives, whether that would be in Namibia or here in the United States. And I was opting for Namibia, at least for the first part, because I just really wanted to live in Africa long term for years, and have that experience. However, what happened was, while I was in Namibia, I was really struggling to come up with like a business plan or idea. And obviously that takes, when you start a business, you need capital. You need money to invest in the startup, right? And because I had been living in Africa at this point for several months, traveling from Rwanda all the way down to Namibia, and also, by the way, I was financing everything for Person X, the Nigerian, and myself. I flew Person X from Nigeria to Rwanda, and of course, I flew myself from United States to Rwanda, and then I flew both of us, and then I was paying for our living expenses and everything in Kigali, in Rwanda, and at the time, I had no passive form of income, all right? So when you move abroad, you have to have some passive form of income, right? And I know that's like very basic, but it's true. We were planning to start a business in Rwanda with the amount of money that I had saved. And we would have been able to do that, but it's tough when you're financing two people's lives. And of course, we wanted to live like a sort of middle-class lifestyle while living in Rwanda and Namibia. And we did. I saved enough to be able to do that. However, when it came to starting a business, having the funds and the capital to do that was challenging. And also, I just could not find a niche in Namibia. Now, if I were to go back, I would really consider, before going there, since I've already been there and lived there, now I have an idea of what I might be able to do, right? But at the time, I didn't. So funds ran low, and also I was supporting Person O. So while in Namibia, I was also supporting Person O. And this is going to be another video as well in this series about when you sometimes date abroad, let's say date in Africa, you don't always have to support the person. That's absolutely not the case. But for me, I ended up being, like I said, a passport bro. Like, that was not my intention setting out. Maybe it was to an extent, to be completely honest and vulnerable with you guys. But I ended up financially supporting the people that I was involved with in Africa. And so if you are watching this, and if you have been following this journey and aspiring to go abroad and to date abroad, that's awesome. I will say you do not have to go abroad to find love. I know that's sort of a theme nowadays, that you have to go abroad to find love. And for many of you, you will find love abroad. However, you have to consider the fact that some people are looking to date hypergamously. Some people who are abroad, one thing that comes into play, of course, is your passport, your American passport, and the prospects that they have of eventually immigrating to the United States and getting, that green card or that citizenship. Now, I'm not saying that's why Person X and Person O were with me. I don't believe that, but I do think that that may have played a role, possibly subconsciously, for them. All right. So, anyways, yeah, I was in Namibia, and then I had to leave because my funds were running low, basically, and so I had to come back to the United States. I got a job and started substitute teaching, which I really enjoyed a lot. Those of you who know I was teaching Mandarin Chinese long term, no, I don't speak Mandarin. I just learned enough to be able to teach it, which was challenging but very exciting. And I think I did a very good job, a pretty good job teaching Mandarin to youngsters. Obviously, it would be a different story if I had to teach to adults, but I was just teaching to kids, and so it was a lot of fun. And I did that for a couple years, the Mandarin. And then, like I said, I was supposed to leave in 2023 to go back to South Africa, actually to meet up with person. Oh, hold on, pause. All right, I'm back. So my air conditioner is so loud, I have to turn it off while I'm filming. It's hot. I'm in Phoenix, and it is getting hot already. Anyways, what was I saying? So I was supposed to go back to South Africa in 2023 and really try to figure out. I was thinking about getting my master's down there, down in Cape Town, University of Cape Town. It's very expensive though, and so I decided I'm most likely. Well, I already applied to get my master's here in Arizona, and if you go into education, they will pay for it. All right. There's a program for that. So if you're in Arizona, you should look into that. You could email me if you're curious. Anyways, I was going to go down to South Africa and meet up with O, who is Namibian. Namibia is right by South Africa, so it's not a long distance for Person O. And we were going to start our lives. Person O was going to go to school in South Africa. I was going to go to school in South Africa. And that would also allow us both legal entry and to be able to stay in South Africa long term. I was planning to really beef up my YouTube channel and start pumping out content, and also try my hand at some other way to generate income and passive income there in South Africa. All right. But anyways, like I said, I had to leave, and going to Africa and then having to leave was actually the best thing that happened, because what I realized was that I was trying to make my dreams come true in Africa, and I thought that would be impossible here in the United States. But Person O and I eventually separated for various reasons, the distance being one factor. And I realized that you can also make your dreams come true here in the United States. You can make your dreams come true here in the United States or wherever you are. You don't have to go abroad. The grass is not always greener, right? We've all heard that a million times, and it's true. Also, I used to think that I had to date someone who was from the continent of Africa. I don't know why I thought that, but that's not true either for me. And I would love to have someone here in Arizona, someone at least in the United States. That is very challenging, dating long distance, dating abroad. It really tests you. But I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about relationships. I learned a lot about maintaining a healthy relationship. I learned a lot about just life in general. So I don't regret it. But I will say that I've come away with it with a different understanding, that I can find love here in the US, that I can find happiness and joy and create the life I want here. Now, I don't think my African chapter is over. I would like to go back to visit, maybe retire there possibly in the distant future. But I still want to go to Africa, and I still want to explore South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Ghana, Senegal. There's so many places that I need to experience on the African continent and elsewhere. But for now, I am here in the US, and I'm working on, I basically had to start over too, think about it. So being in Africa and then coming here and having to start over, because I had obviously saved and saved and saved and then went over there to start a life, and it didn't work out as planned. And again, I don't regret that because I learned so much. So I had to essentially start over, right? When I came back here to the US. And there's something beautiful and refreshing about that. So yeah, for now, I'm here back home in Arizona in the US, and I am working to make my life and my dreams come true here, right? Experience freedom traveling within the United States, making the most and experiencing life to the fullest here at home in the United States. So it took me going abroad and living abroad to realize that I never really had to do that in order to experience life to the fullest. Or maybe I really did have to do that in order to learn that I could experience life to the fullest here in the United States. Okay, so is Africa the land of grand opportunities and home? Yes, for many people. Is it the motherland? Yes, for many people. Is it Mecca or the land of milk and honey and the only place we can succeed? No. We can make our dreams come true here in the United States, all right? And you could find love. If you're looking for love and you're going abroad, you can do that, but also you could find it here in the US. The United States is a big, big place, a very large country. So even if your life's not working out where you are specifically, let's say you're in Dallas, then maybe try moving to a different city, right? You don't necessarily have to go abroad. However, this video is not to discourage you from going abroad, because I did, and I don't regret it at all. And who knows what life has in store for us. But I will likely be returning to Africa, like I said, to visit, maybe to live, but I don't see that happening in the foreseeable future because, again, like I said, I had to start over, and I would love to. I'm getting older. I'm 37 years old, and I'm single, don't have any children yet. And I would like to have those things. I would like to have a spouse and a family. And traveling abroad, it's very challenging to do that and establish yourself. I'm not saying it's impossible because many people have done it. And I'm sure someone in the comments will say, well, I did it. Well, yay, good for you. That's awesome. But I believe in God, and I think God has other plans a lot of times. And I think his plans for me are to be here. So anyways, please stay tuned to Anton's class. I would love to have you back. And that's it. Bye.